Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Co Show. My name is Mason Co. Here, as always, with my co-host Aaron Co.
Hello.
We are presented, as always, by Goosehead Insurance. Aaron Co. Go ahead.
Wow, where'd you find that sponsor?
You actually.
That's it. Move on.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So we talked about it in the last podcast at the beginning. So if you want to learn more, check it out there. Yeah. So little football depression.
Ugh.
Not as excited to be talking about football today as we usually are. Obviously the Seahawks lost. We'll talk about that game and the other games, but before we do, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe, all the dumb YouTuber shit. And then also follow us on Twitter at Mason Charles Co, at AaronCo29. Aaron Co on Facebook too. Go ahead and friend him there. Yeah, and then also the book is on Amazon.
Yay.
Hardcover, softcover, ebook, also lulu.com. So, yeah. All right.
Do we have to do this?
Yeah, I mean, we do,
I guess you need they say, you have a funeral because you need to say goodbye.
we're esteemed journalists, so we have to, we have to report. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, the Rams beat the Seahawks by 10, 30-20. There's obviously going to be a lot of overreactions to this, but I will ask some questions that I saw on Twitter. Some that I think are ridiculous, some that I think maybe have some merit. The first one, obviously, Pete. We've talked about this before. You don't really want to blame the coach a lot of the time. Pete has, we won 12 games this year. But, one playoff win in the last 5 years.
Is it that bad? Gosh, it's a tough one. And let me just say this. So, we're doing this show almost 48 hours after the loss.
Yeah.
So I am, and I'm sure you are too, much more measured than I was during and after that football game. So I don't blame fans a whole lot when they tweet stuff during the game or even in the hours after the game, because again, I repeat myself, but fan is short for fanatics, and I love the passion. And if you're passionate about this team like I am, I respect that, even if I disagree with you. So that's number one. Now, if you're saying shit a couple days after the game when you've had some time to really think about it and you're saying crazy stuff, then I might lose some respect for you. But I love the fans that are passionate, the people who, wear the jersey when they're doing well, and but don't really know anything about what's going on when things aren't going well. Like, the hell with them. They're the bandwagon people, the 12 since 12, whatever. Okay, so let me get that out of the way. As far as there are a couple things about Pete. Number one, it's almost a ridiculous conversation because he is going nowhere. He's going nowhere. They just re-signed him they just extended him out. So let me just say that, like, it's not happening. So you can yell and scream all you want. It's not going to happen. Okay. Should it happen? That's another discussion, right? If you were to fire Pete Carroll, you're kind of buying a lotto ticket at that point. Like, Pete is the safe investment that you bought some safe stocks, you bought some Amazon, and you're just sitting on it. If you fire Pete and go in a whole nother direction, that's maybe not a lotto ticket, but it's a gamble.
Yeah.
You're throwing money at a stock that may or may not pan out. Because who are you going to get? Like, what better coach are you going to get? Who in the NFL is a better leader than Pete Carroll?
Yeah. That's a great Colin Cowherd. Pete Carroll's your Amazon. Colin Cowherd does.
Does he say that? God.
No, he doesn't say that exactly, but
Jesus Christ, I don't want to be compared to that guy.
He says shit like that all the time. Yeah.
Oh, man. So man, if you're gonna fire Pete, like what's the plan? Where are you going with that? That probably means a total rebuild.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to do a total rebuild.
Hold on. Just getting a new coach means a total rebuild?
You're gonna have. I mean, I don't know, man. It's a whole new culture. You know, they're gonna have guys that they want to get rid of and guys they want to bring in, and no, it doesn't have to be a total rebuild, but it I don't know. I'm a little afraid of that. I'm afraid of, you know, you get rid of Chuck Knox and in 1989, and then you have a decade of just horrid football. Like that could happen. Now, maybe you hit on the lottery ticket and you bring in the next great thing, whoever that is. Like nobody knows who is the guy.
Yeah.
Who's the guy that's the next great thing. Fire Pete. You got to bring somebody in, so unless you're going to have, one of you people in your basement are going to coach the team from there. I don't know. Probably won't work too well. So I absolutely don't think they should get rid of Pete Carroll. One, because look at the run they've had. Yeah, I'm disappointed. Everybody's disappointed, but look at the run that they've had over the amount of time. He's also a legend, and I don't think you fire a legend after a 12-4 season. To me, that's not right. If they go 7-9, okay. He needs a couple of bad years, in my opinion, before you even bring up the idea of firing him. Are there things about him that drive me nuts? Yes. But go find one fucking fan base in any sport that's not pissed at their coaches every time they lose a game. There's no perfect coach out there.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I think, I absolutely think that Pete should still be the head coach. If anything, I think maybe hand some of the decision making off to someone else as far as in-game stuff. I don't know how you do that. That might be a very not revolutionary, but like I don't know. It might be a very kind of weird thing to do to hand over some of the responsibilities, but I just think Pete has established too good of a culture and has proved himself too much to like you said, fire him after a 12-4 season. It's just it's dumb. And then the other one is so there's two ways to ask this question. I'll say the more tamed one than the more ridiculous one. Is it time to acknowledge that Russ might not be a great playoff quarterback? And the more ridiculous take, which by the way, guys like specifically Evan Hill on Twitter, he has some funny takes and stuff, but he also he's the embodiment of an emotional Seahawks fan that overreacts, and he just says some ridiculous shit.
I think I unfollowed him sometime last year because he was driving me nuts.
I unfollowed him too.
I was getting angry.
Every
time I went on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did, his tweets pop up on my timeline every once in a while, which I don't mind. It's not like I hate him. But
yeah.
He said it's time to, I think his words were, I'll pull up the tweet while I say it. His words, I believe, were it's time to acknowledge that Russ might not be the quarterback we need to win a Super Bowl.
Well, he was one time, and damn near was another time.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough. So, I'll answer this similarly to how I answered the Pete question. Who is?
Yeah.
Who's your guy? How many quarterbacks? I mean, are you going to get 5 years ago, Tom Brady?
Mm-hmm.
Like, who are these great playoff quarterbacks? Are you going to get Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah.
Who else? Where are all these other great? Every year there's only one, the one that wins the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So every year the other 31 quarterbacks aren't great playoff quarterbacks. So, who are these guys? There are some issues with Russell Wilson. How often do you see him take a 3-step drop and fire the ball and get a 7-yard completion? How often do you see that? Not very.
No, not very often.
3-step drop. No. I guess I'll wing it deep or take a sack or run for his life. And he's not as good at running for his life as he once was.
Yeah.
And again, he's not going anywhere either. So that is also a ridiculous question.
Mm-hmm.
And again, but can you play along, with should he? Boy, I wouldn't be. Hey, if you want to draft a guy in the 3rd round of this upcoming draft, and see if you can find somebody, then maybe. But what are you going to do? Are you going to trade for Deshaun Watson? You're not really going to do that, and he hasn't done anything either. What has he done? He shows promise, but a lot of guys show promise.
Yeah.
So what's the plan? So you're going to go with Geno? Is that what we're doing? I mean, come on. Russell Wilson is not the best quarterback in the league. He's not.
You know what
but
we
he's
could
pretty
do?
Damn good. What?
Maybe fleece the Texans for a quarterback.
The guy making those deals is out of town.
I'm just saying they want to trade him and he wants out.
Yeah. Hey, make the call. Always make the call. But I think it's pretty unrealistic because then you'd have to get rid of Russell Wilson's salary to bring in that salary.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Hey, I think John Schneider makes the call.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that sounds like a fantasy football deal. I don't know how realistic that deal is.
All right, give us a fucking pick, bitch.
I think you would be giving picks back the other way because of the age.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But again, I mean, is Deshaun Watson where his big wins? Where his?
Oh, okay, you can't blame Deshaun Watson not having big wins on him at this point in his career. He's on the Texans.
I know, but
He's had terrible coaches, terrible teammates.
But he's not a sure. My point is, he's not a sure thing.
No,
nobody knows what he's gonna do in the 4th quarter of a playoff game.
Yeah,
nobody, because he hasn't done anything.
College football playoff game, he did pretty well.
Tim Tebow, he was fucking amazing. Why don't you sign his ass? Yeah, don't bring that college shit up. I mean, come on. He was great, and I like Deshaun Watson a lot. I'm just saying, he's not a sure thing. There really isn't a sure thing.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. You're probably like finding a young guy, finding your next guy is what you're doing if you're moving away from Russell Wilson. Which again, you're gonna have Russell Wilson for at least 2 more years. Like that's and Pete Carroll, you're riding that ship into the iceberg or into the harbor or wherever it's going. That's the ship that you're on. So I guess my question is, if that's the ship we're on, how can we make the ship better? The rest of the ship better.
Yeah, I mean it's hard. It's hard.
That's a hard one to answer.
It's hard to say. That. I feel like the problem is with the Seahawks, is it's different things at different times throughout the season.
Yeah, especially this year.
But I mean, really every year, but this year, I mean, to the max. So, Dan Quinn is interviewing for defensive coordinator jobs. I think you give him a call.
Is he bringing the LOB with him?
I mean, I just think you give him a call.
Sure. Yeah. Probably did.
Yeah.
Maybe they did.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then as far as drafting and free agency, I don't know. I'm more of a believer in best available. So I don't know anything about prospects or whatever. And I know we don't really have any picks this year.
Yeah.
Free agency, I don't even really know our cap situation that much, so it's like,
it's not bad, but I don't know. Well, everybody's fucked because the cap's going down. So.
Yeah.
There are going to be a lot of players cut. I will say that. There's going to be guys out there probably because guys are going to get cut.
So, as far as where I think we need help the most, I mean, the offensive line was good this year, but always could upgrade. I think offensive line, I mean, yeah, like, you could always upgrade, and it's always a good move.
Yeah.
No matter really. I mean,
and they were terrible yesterday.
And they were absolutely awful yesterday, and that was supposed to be our full healthy offensive line. So obviously that, and then the pass rush looked really good in the second half of the season. Same thing with the offensive line. You could always use a great pass rusher. Same thing with a cornerback. I don't know if I want the Seahawks to re-sign Shaquille Griffin at this point. I don't really know. I don't know what the market looks like for him. Yeah. But considering he was a Pro Bowler, I'm guessing there will be a franchise that's desperate.
Somebody's going to pay him.
I don't want to get into a bidding war for Shaquille Griffin. That's what I don't want.
If you're going to pay him, so he's probably the bottom end of what he's going to get is probably going to be about $12 million a year.
Yeah.
So if you could get him in that 10 to 12 range, maybe I think about it. But if it goes in, you can't be losing other guys because you signed him. Like, he's not worth that.
No. So it's tough. It's so hard to tell because, some days I feel like it's the coaching. Some days I feel like it's the cornerbacks. Some days, the first half of the season it was Trey Flowers, Ken Norton. The second half of the season is Russell Wilson. Maybe it was injuries. It's whatever. I don't know about Chris Carson either. It's the same thing with Shaquille Griffin. I don't think I want to get into a bidding war over Chris Carson. But then again, that probably means we draft another running back, which I wouldn't be super hyped about unless someone like, I really only want to draft a running back that really seems like the real deal, unless it's someone like Chris Carson who's in a later round. But yeah, what picks? Do you know what picks we have?
I don't even know.
I feel like we only have 2 picks or 3 picks or something.
And it's more than that, but it's you don't have a first or second round, right? You're gonna have an upper third round pick, I think. So to me, what they need on offense, they need another playmaker, and maybe that's a tight end. Like who?
Yeah.
Greg Olsen will probably be gone. Didn't give you a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
Hollister is a nice player, but he's certainly not elite. Disley is a nice blocking tight end who will contribute to the offense. Got pretty good hands, but he's not running away from anyone.
Yeah.
A lot of these great teams have really good playmaking tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
Either that or you need a little fucker, in the slot who drives you crazy. How nice would it be to have even a Cooper Kupp?
Is Philip Dorsett gonna ever play for the Seahawks? What about Josh Gordon?
I don't think so. Are you kidding? Are you kidding with Josh Gordon?
I don't know. I still don't really know what's going on with him.
Well, he was gonna come back and he fucked it up again. Like I want nothing to do with that guy anymore. I'm sorry. I feel kind of bad for him, but he's let the team down twice now.
Yeah. I think we have for this website, prosportstransactions.com says we have.
It sounds legit.
Says we have second for 2, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
But I don't know. Seahawks draft.
Well, we know they don't have a first round pick.
Yeah. All right. Should we like get in depth on this game or?
I've got a few things to run through.
All right, go for it.
What do you got? You got anything?
It's just Russ didn't play well.
11 for 27.
11 for 6.4 per attempt. He had the pick, and he probably should have had 3 picks or something.
Yep.
Chris Carson. I don't know. Just
Chris Carson, I think there's, obviously he was banged up and he was maybe playing through a foot injury. I did not see him, he's been so great in third and short and just pushing and leg drive. I didn't see any of that last several weeks.
Yeah.
He was bouncing outside. I didn't see him just get those ridiculous, like, how the hell did he get that extra yard?
Yeah.
I didn't see any of that.
There wasn't a ton of burst.
So I think he was battling through something.
Yeah.
Probably won't. I'm guessing he won't be back.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Well, he also unfollowed the Seahawks and followed the Buccaneers and the Falcons on Twitter. He's from Georgia, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Who knows about that? I need to get the mic closer to my face. Holy shit. So, DK, you see 96 and 2, and you're like, okay, that's decent. But I feel like the impact wasn't necessarily that big. Yeah. Jalen Ramsey did pretty well. He had a 51-yard touchdown, so that's over half of the yards and one of the touchdowns on broken coverage.
Yeah.
So it's, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, you can't say he had a bad day.
Right.
So.
Well, he, a couple things. So he, again, not targeted in the first quarter. That's happened way too often this season.
Yeah.
Some of that's on the calls. Some of that is on Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson had opportunities and just didn't look at him a couple times.
He does that every time Jalen Ramsey with Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
Every time we face the Rams this year.
Yep. You had, he threw the hissy fit on the sideline.
Yeah.
Mike Holmgren today said he hasn't earned the right to throw a tantrum, which I thought that was a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And then, also, I think part of that, there are a couple things. I want to talk about that pick six a little bit.
Yeah.
There are a couple things there. So first, he throws the hissy fit. So have you ever, I don't know, I've played flag football. I've gotten beaten trying to cover someone, but the guy doesn't end up getting the ball, and you're like, oh, shit, man, made it. And then he goes back and says something. Dude, I was fucking 10 yards behind that slow fuck. Like, throw me the ball,
Yeah.
So, and then like, I know in that moment, okay, he's really, like, I got to bust my ass because he's going to be, he's looking for him. Like, he's going to really try to get him. So, DK throws that hissy fit, and then 2 offensive plays later. So, their defense is like, they're going to, they're going to try to get him the ball. So, on that play, first of all, it was an RPO with pretty soft coverage. It should have been a run. So let's start right there. And then Freddie Swain misses the block, but also they're blocking. They should have switched their blocking assignments because they were asking Freddie Swain to kind of cut across.
Yeah.
He still should have done it, though.
Yeah.
He took a horrible angle on it. And obviously that was a game-changing play. I think Russ is gun-shy second half of the year anyway, and that really killed him.
Yeah.
So that was just a brutal play in that game. That, who knows how things go if that play isn't made, if they run the ball and get 3 yards there.
So your initial reaction was that it was on Russ, right? And my initial reaction was it was on Freddie Swain. So what, like, I have not looked at the play again. I just saw like 2 replays, and my conclusion was it was on Freddie Swain. So what do you, or maybe it was on the play call. What do you think?
I would say given that they didn't run the ball, it still could have worked. That's on Freddie Swain.
Yeah.
But there were like many layers of issues with that play.
Right, okay.
Starting off with it was an RPO.
Speaking of many layers of issues, what about the delay a game on 4th and 1 that we thought, it was a false start, right?
Yeah,
so it was the delay a game / false start where it's 4th and 1, you have a chance to, whether or not you believe in momentum, you have a chance to gain some momentum and potentially, I forget what the situation was, tie the game or get, I don't know.
Can't remember now.
But instead, the play clock's running down. Pete looks at it and decides.
I think they're down by 10 maybe at that
down.
point.
Yeah, maybe down 10. Pete looks at the play clock winding down, knows that he either has to call a timeout or there's a penalty, and he's like, I'm okay with punting. So just take the penalty.
He said something in his press conference today that is probably going to go viral amongst the Twitter haters and the analytics guys. Like, this is going to... he said... So you're right about everything that you just said. I think he was okay punting the ball there. But this was his wording. He said, I was fighting the call. So basically he was arguing with Schottenheimer on the offensive call. Is what that... He said I was fighting the call. That was his wording.
This is what I mean. Like, Pete should have nothing to do with offensive play calling.
Yeah.
Nothing. He shouldn't have anything to do with offensive play calling whatsoever.
Yeah,
Focus on your defense.
I assume it was... I'm just going to guess that Schottenheimer wanted to throw it. Pete probably wanted to run it.
Yeah.
That's probably what they were... I don't know. We'll never know what they were arguing about. We also don't know how often that happens.
Yeah. Is that every time that shit because that's happened like 6 times this year, where they almost get a delay game, or they do, or they 4th and 1 they end up getting a delay game and then punting.
Yeah, that's probably part of it. So that was just appalling to me. I mean, again, I think every offensive coach knows they have stuff.
Yeah.
If we get into 4th and 1, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
If they give us this look, we're going to change to this. So not only are you not ready for that moment, but you don't give your quarterback a chance to change it based on what he sees.
Yeah.
So awful. That's and I don't know, that's on Pete. Someone asked, I think it was Mike Dugar, is that how you say his name?
Yeah, Dugar.
Asked Pete who holds you accountable, which was an interesting question.
It is.
And Pete said basically, I'm going to miss my son going to coach at Arizona because he held me accountable.
Okay.
And I'm sitting there going, okay, like, I don't think it works that way.
No.
Does your own son maybe question you more than someone who doesn't have job security? Perhaps. Maybe. But your son is, no disrespect to you, but you're not like telling me what to do a whole lot.
I'm not checking you. No.
You might be a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And asking me annoying questions. But you're not telling me what to do a whole lot, except for on this fucking podcast.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I mean, I just commandeered your phone and I was like, give me that fucking shit, old man.
So you get like 2 hours a week where you're the boss.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
So that was, I don't know, but that's getting into the whole Pete thing again. I don't even know what the hell we were talking about.
I don't know. Some about
the 4th and 1 call.
Yeah, the 4th and 1 call. So
I think Pete is a little indecisive at times, probably overthinks it at times. Offensive coaches, man, they just they're killers. This is the call. That's what you have to do because you don't have time.
No.
You have time to fucking talk and debate. Mike Holmgren has said, and I know I bring him up a lot, but he said he would tell everybody to shut up. He was the head coach and the play caller.
Yeah.
He said it was understood that no one talks to me when I'm making an offensive call.
Mm-hmm.
Period. I don't want your input. And
I'm Shoddy can't do that.
No, because he's getting second guessed all the time. But that's pretty typical though in the NFL. Pete's not the only one that does that. That happens all the time.
You can't do it when you got a play clock running.
You can't do it to the team's detriment. Yeah.
I know we've said this 1,000 times to each other. We say this every single time this situation comes up, which is way too often. And we've said it on the podcast too. You should have something for that.
Yeah.
They've had 4th and 1 so many times and then just seemingly not known what they were supposed to do. Like, how do you not have something drawn up for 4th and 1?
And I think they probably Shoddy at least does, but then you get in that moment and I don't know, people are probably overthinking it.
So then fucking figure it out beforehand. Yeah. I don't know. So that is more concerning. That's more concerning with Pete. That's the most concerning part of Pete to me.
Yeah.
But
a couple of the the two biggest issues in this game in my mind were they were 2 of 14 on third down, and you're just not going to win a whole lot of games, where you go 2 for 14 on third down.
Yeah.
That was brutal.
5 sacks.
Pete said that Wilson had a really hard game, which, using my Pete translator, that means our quarterback sucked hairy balls during this game.
Yeah.
Because Pete, that's as close as Pete gets to saying something negative. He had a really hard game.
Yeah.
So he wasn't fond of the way that Russell Wilson played, clearly.
Yeah.
So, I think that you got basically what you wanted from the defense. You look at the score, doesn't look that great, but you had a pick six and you had we need to stop the run, gave up an easy touchdown toward the end. So that's 14 points that I don't really even count against the defense all that much. They did enough to win the game, and your offense, which killed you all through the second half of the year. They scored 274 points in the first half of the season and 185 in the second. Huge disparity. It's frustrating. And you asked me, didn't you ask me if this was the worst? What was, I don't remember how you worded the question.
So but one more thing I want to say, that DJ Reed fumble, we've praised him a ton.
Yeah.
Still obviously love him as a player, but that's just a killer. He tweeted something about someone twisting his ankle, purposely twisting his ankle, and I don't know what happened, but there was some clip or something of him kicking someone in a pile, but it was like, when someone's twisting my ankle, I'm going to do everything I can to protect myself or something. So fuck whoever that Rams player was is in the Jimmy bucket. Yeah. So anyway, so the question I asked was, considering the circumstances of how high the expectations reached at the peak expectations of this season, is this the most disappointing loss in Seahawks history?
Yeah, I think almost any way you slice it, if you want to say, from the beginning of the season, because I think I predicted they would go 11-5.
Yeah.
At the sort of the peak 5-0, we got the MVP quarterback. Even though I think we knew they weren't that good, the defense was struggling.
Yeah, it was a house of cards.
Yeah. But I can't, the ones I kind of thought back through it yesterday, so in 2005, the Seahawks go to the Super Bowl, lose, and then they had an overtime loss to the Bears in the playoffs the next year. That was tough, but again, not, I don't think as bad as this one. 2014, that play that we don't need to mention at the goal line.
Yeah.
They rebound after a really bad start to go 10-6. They fall down 31-0 to the Panthers. That was pretty rough. But that was a road game, but to fall down 31-0.
That's really bad,
And they ended up losing 31-24. They end up kind of making a game of it.
Yeah.
The other one that I could think of was 1983, the Seahawks go to the AFC Championship game. They only went 9-7, but you're like, man, they got virtually everybody back. Like, they got a real chance.
Yeah.
It was the one time prior to Holmgren that I thought they had a legit chance to do something. And they go. A couple things happen though. They lose Kurt Warner to a knee injury. One game in, I think
running back Kurt Warner for the young kids out there.
I think he had 10. He was basically one of the best running backs in football in the year before, and then he blows his knee out in the first game of the season.
Which at that time is career over, right?
He was able to come back, but he had a couple of really great seasons after that, but his career was fairly short. I think he kind of battled that.
Yeah.
The leftovers of that, but they go 12-4.
Yeah.
However, it was a wild card because I think Denver went 13-3.
AFC at the time.
Yeah, AFC. Yeah, and they lost 31-10 to the Dolphins. So
Jeez.
basically, heading into the season, you're like, wow, this looks really good, and then they go 12-4, and then they kind of get blown out on the road. But given that you lost your best offensive player other than Largent,
Yeah.
that didn't feel. The 12-4 felt kind of like fool's gold, I guess, as it was happening to me as a 13-year-old kid.
Yeah.
I mean, just in a home game, a home playoff game
against
a shitty quarterback with with three screws in his thumb.
I just want to know
their best defensive player in the league missing the second half.
Yeah. I just want to know the impact of the 12s in that game. I mean, having John Wolford out there, inexperienced with the 12s roaring, and then also an injured Jared Goff who gets a little antsy, gets a little nervous, a little bitch ass. Yeah.
It sure, you would sure think that would make an impact.
A 10-point difference. I mean, that's whatever, but yeah. So, all right. Do you want to move on to other games, or do you have other stuff?
See if I have anything else. Oh, Jamal Adams. I thought he had a really poor game.
Yeah, he did.
And he did the thing. I love it when people do this. He's like, no, I'm not going to make any excuses, but I couldn't. I had a brace on my shoulder and I couldn't move my arm around. Okay, you just made a goddamn excuse.
It's an excuse, yeah.
Hugh Millen this morning on KJR pointed out that there have been many players that have played through a torn labrum.
Mm-hmm.
He turned down some tackles again. One that was a touchdown, another that was a 44-yard gain. I think it was a pass to the running back. I'm trying to remember now. Horrible coverage on Cooper Kupp.
Mm-hmm.
Got beat and then couldn't play the ball.
Yeah.
So he had a really bad game. Hopefully, next year he's fully healthy and that adds, that changes his confidence level.
Yeah.
But he was really bad in that game. Other than that, no, I don't think. I think we've pretty much covered it. An awful loss. You got to look at everything. Pete Carroll was asked, "Is Shoddy coming back?" He said yes on one radio show, but then in his press conference, he was like, "I'm not answering any questions about the coaching staff. You never know what's going to happen." He kind of downplayed his earlier answer.
Yeah.
So you come out of this game like, our offensive line fucking sucked. Our coach sucks. Our quarterback sucks. Our coordinator sucks. It's just a devastating loss. There's no other way to put it.
Yep. All right. Let's just get off of that now. Actually, should we do like just a few like full season thoughts that we haven't got out? Because we said kind of some things for the full season. I mean, DK Metcalf, incredible season. Guys like Benson Mayowa, Jaron Reed made a good comeback. Carlos Dunlap completely changed the entire defense.
Yeah.
Chris Carson, as always when he's healthy, except maybe the last couple games. But, yeah, I mean, Tyler Lockett, another incredible, underrated year.
Yeah, 100 catches.
100 catches.
Russell Wilson throws 40 touchdowns. So for all our talk about the offensive struggles, this is the most points they've ever scored in franchise history.
Yeah, by the way, we're going to reveal, at the beginning of the year, we did bets for the NFL. I completely forget what the bets that we set were. So they're $2 a piece. I set 10, he set 10. And we will be revealing the winners of those bets on Wednesday's show, so that should be fun. But, any other final season thoughts? DJ Reed, great surprise. Shaquille Griffin, disappointing. Quentin Dunbar, unbelievably disappointing. Trey Flowers, soft. I don't know.
One other thought. to bounce back. But
Yeah.
Pete Carroll said he wants to run the ball more.
Oh, nice. That's great.
But here, you know what's funny though? How many times the Seahawks handed the ball to running? How many times in comparison to Kansas City? What would you say if the Seahawks ran it? I don't remember the precise numbers now. If the Seahawks ran it 317 times, how many times to running backs?
Yeah.
How many times do you think Kansas City handed it to running backs?
240.
316.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the Seahawks didn't really run the ball all that much, and in comparison, so that's less than 20 carries per game for all of your running backs.
Yeah.
And I think they became a little predictable with going against pass defense because of that. So that was one last thing I had to get out. They have a lot of guys under contract for next year. They're not losing a lot. There's not a lot of really big names that you have to take care of. So it'll just be, can you add something to help you out? And can Brian Schottenheimer get more creative?
Yeah.
To get this thing going in the right direction.
Wait, should we actually go over the rest of these games on Wednesday? Would that make more sense? This is Seahawk talk.
Perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, we're 40 minutes in, too.
Yeah. Is anyone even going to watch this? They're all depressed. By the way, I did not. I'm doing dry January. I felt hungover yesterday from the Seahawks game.
Me too. It was just
brutal.
Yeah,
so, anyway.
I didn't really. I still watch football. I didn't even really feel like watching it.
Yeah, maybe we go over the other games. Touch on what happened, and then other than I'd like to mention the Steelers just.
Yeah, I mean,
laying you want to talk about disappointed fan base?
Oh my God, the Steelers had a very similar season to the Seahawks.
They were 11-0.
Yeah,
and they got beat by the Browns. Browns.
Yeah, no, it was the Seahawks season, but just worse in really every way.
Yeah.
And the Seahawks season was pretty bad. So should we save that then?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Cool. So we'll touch on those games. And let's see, what else? Do we have anything else to talk about? Oh, let's just give our predictions for the national championship that is happening tonight. Do you know the line?
Last I saw, I think it was 8.5.
Okay.
Alabama minus 8.5.
I'm pretty sure I bet over 77.
Woo!
I was just rude. I just want points. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just what I'm hoping for. So 8.5, 75 is the
Yeah.
So give me Alabama, give me the over.
The over, man, that's tough. 77,
75.
75.
I think let me double check.
I'll say I don't think they're gonna quite get there. I'll say 45-31 Alabama.
Okay,
I like Alabama giving the points.
I did get it at 75, by the way, and I got Alabama at 8.
Okay.
So, okay. Give me, let's see, 40. Give me Alabama. Give me 45-34.
What did I said 45-31, right? So we're right.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Jesus, I did not realize.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, 45-34 is my prediction.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought you said 41-35.
No, 45-31.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 41-35, which actually is a push for Alabama on my bet.
Yeah.
Not on the 8.5.
Yeah. I would not.
You know what? 42-35.
Oh, so you're gonna lose? You're gonna lose the
spread? No. Wait. What'd I say? 45.
You said 45-34 at first.
45-34. Give me 40.
You're gonna put a 50 burger on him?
No, just give me 45-34. That was my
Okay.
prediction.
Okay. Yeah, I think I would not. I would not bet the over under. I just would.
I just did it for fun.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. I mean, I might bet $10 on it or something just for amusement purposes, but I wouldn't it's not something I would feel great about. I would be really surprised if Alabama doesn't win by double digits though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm just gonna do a quick Monday lock of the week.
Ooh.
Give me Suns -6.
Suns -6
against the Wizards. They don't have Russ, even though apparently Russ is hurt, and he might have been actually playing hurt because he just doesn't tell people when he's injured.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, this is Seahawk talk, so we'll stop talking about that. All right, hold on. Let me put some Monopoly money on that. Yeah, all right. So you got anything else?
No. Pitchers and catchers report in 37 days or something like that.
Great. Awesome. The Sonics hopefully will report this decade.
Yeah.
All right. Well, follow us on Twitter at MasonCharlesCo, at AaronCo29. YouTube, people, subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff. Give us some feedback, whether you like it or don't. We want to hear it. Any recommendations? We got the 3 camera angles now. So, yeah, I mean, this is really, every time I say, I think this is this is really what the setup's like.
Yeah.
Every time I say that, some new shit pops into my head. So who knows? But yeah, the book, Amazon, got the ebook, hardcover, softcover, also on Lulu.com. Peep Goosehead Insurance. You can friend them on Facebook for that. Yeah, that's about it.
R.I.P. Seahawks.
Yeah, rip Seahawks. 2020 season was fun for the most part. I think most Seahawk talks, we ended the podcast by saying good vibes. We were feeling good. So at the end of the day, I could say it was a positive season. Painful. 31 teams have to end it in a painful way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it's ended a little sooner than I think we all expected.
definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Peace out.
See you, suckers.